Welcome back to Citrus Today. Brett Knutson sitting in for Dennis Miller. He's on vacation this week. Of course, a big couple of weeks for the Key, so Dennis getting rested up for that. And unfortunately for the superintendent of schools in Citrus County, Sam Hill's got to talk to me. Dennis certainly far more informed than I, but I'm going to do my best. Sam, it's July, and I know my kids were looking at the calendar saying, Oh, it's 5 weeks until we start the school year. And I know it's not a quiet summer for you guys. It never is.
You know, I always think about that commercial on TV, and I forget which corporation it is, but how the parents are going through that it's time for school and they're jumping up and down and the kids are moping through the hallway. And I always think, you know what, the first day of school, our parents are excited, the kids are like, oh, summer's over. The last day of school, the people in the schools are crying because they've gotten attached to them. So there's always a flip-flop in emotion from, you know, beginning of school. So it is going by fast. Our principals are in the process of hiring new teachers. We usually average about 100 new teachers, and that's between attrition, that's between people retiring and new positions. So, in fact, this afternoon we'll monitor that again. We monitor that daily right now because of numbers.
And I know I'm fairly new to the area, but just the enormity of the amount of schools that you guys have in Citrus County, I mean, that's really not a lot because when you consider how many schools, how many campuses you have, and you have a lot of teachers that have been there for a while that are very dedicated and love this county and love teaching in this school district.
They do. We talk about, I was speaking to a group the other day and they were talking about the love of learning. And I said, well, I do believe that about our teachers. You know, it's what goes on in that classroom. But with 11 elementary schools, you know, we're monitored and we have to make sure that we meet class size amendment. I know some school districts in the state have decided not to meet that. But we've had the opportunity and the foresight to maintain our dollars and to make sure that we're able to meet the class size amendment. So we have to monitor that, and the thing we hate the most about it is come the first couple weeks of September, we may have to take a teacher from one school to another school, and that disrupts the kids. But usually the kids get over it faster than we do, and the parents. But, you know, in the 4 middle schools and then the high schools, and nobody comes to us in one lump, one group. They're not all math ninth graders. They're not all English, so we have to make sure that we put as many students in there as possible with the least amount of teachers.
If you could, I know that obviously plenty of new personnel, you talked about it. I know some new assistant principals, even some new principals. Talk a little about some of the new people, if you could, and how exciting it is to get them into Citrus County and teaching our students.
Well, we have Hernando Elementary, and I'll try to do this from memory, okay? Hernando Elementary, John Weed, who came from Rockcrusher Elementary. And then from Hernando Elementary to Emerald Primary Schools, Miss Manos, Laura Manos. And both of those have been with us for several years. We have Christopher High School, Linda Connor. She's a new high school principal. And at Citrus High School, we have Rich Hilgert, who came from Crest. And then going to Crest is Lee Mulder, who was an assistant principal at Christopher Primary School. And you know, there's a lot of time and thought and energy going into these moves, because when we have one move, for instance, Dale Johns wanted to step down for a while as high school principal, so he's going to the Renaissance Center. And Mark McCoy had made the comment that he wanted to get out of high school as a principal, and he's going to be a PE teacher next year. So when you have one or two moves, it's massive. Yes. Because one moves, the other one moves, and then when we do our back to school administrators meeting and I hand out the new badges, I sit back and think, did I move that many people? But a lot of them have been a couple of them were appointed, but most of them, probably the bigger percentage of our principals and APs they applied for the job, they were interviewed, and that process there's a screening process which is anonymous, because we have 3 screeners that go through all the applications. Then the principal tells us, is there a big cut in the scores, like a big gap from one score to another, or they tell us how many people they want to interview. And then they bring the team together. They usually include the teacher of the year. They include some staff member from their school, and if it's a principal, one of our district staff's involved, and if it's an assistant principal, another director may be involved. So it's a huge process with the interview process.
Is summertime maybe, I mean, I'm sure it's a different kind of challenge. Is it more fun or more work than it is during the school year? Because the school year, I'm sure, like the kids, you get into a routine and you're used to it. Summertime just seems it's a lot to get in
It's
a short
different.
period of time. Yeah.
I tell people all the time, because for a while people would say, "Are you enjoying your summer off?" And I'm going, oh, wait a minute.
There's no off season.
But you know what? It's a different kind of busy. During the school year, we've got buses on the road. We've got kids. We're dealing with a lot more parents and that type of thing. Not that we don't lose any of them. But in the summer, we've got maintenance projects. We've got the hiring. We've got people being moved. They're checking certification for our new teachers. We get our budget ready, which is critical. We just had one of our, what I always consider one of the most important budget meetings this past workshop. So it's getting everything in place. But like I said, it's a different kind of busy. We're swamped, we're busy, but it's a different mindset.
Does it ever get old? I mean, because you talked about the parents' excitement as we get close to the school year. Do you get that same sort of excitement as you get towards the school year to see those changes? Yeah.
We love the first day of school, and you know, when you think about all the changes, it's so exciting to watch those new principals or people. And sometimes they say, "I was just rejuvenated. I've been rejuvenated. I'm ready for something new." So I know people say, "Oh, she just gets up there and just points and tells everybody, you know, what positions they're in." But there's a lot of things that go into moving people around.
I bet it's very difficult to do. I mean, especially as you're talking about with educators who love what they do, but sometimes a little change of scenery is good, isn't
Right.
it?
A lot of changes going on. But the first day of school, it's great to be out in the schools and watch those kids, especially our kindergartners.
Oh, that's got to be a hoot, isn't it?
You know, the
Every
parents
mom and dad's scared to death.
Exactly.
But the kids are fine.
Some of the
usually.
parents are crying, some of the kids
Yes.
are crying, but the teachers are so excited when they get that new group of kids. And we have the STEP program in kindergarten, and so if our kindergartner teachers have 18 students, they, like the first 4 days, probably about 4 kids come each day. And then that last day, because that gives the teacher time to really get to know those kids. And it's a big change for those little guys coming into school all day long, because you know, they look at us like, "You want us here all day, every day?" So a lot of great things going on.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of great things. Plenty more to get to. We are pleased to be joined by the Citrus County Superintendent of Schools, Sam Himmel. We'll talk more of the school year fast approaching right here on Citrus Today. Stay tuned.